And just like that, we're back. We're live. And I am being joined by a great friend of mine, Mr. Web Detective himself. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much, Zach. And how are you today?
We're 2 hours in, Trevor, which is great.
hmm
We're 2 hours in, so we're going well. We had a wonderful talk with our paranormal reverend friend. He was able to join us, and a lot of good things happened there. So, um, kind of got to bring in the other side of my life now. So it's it was pretty exciting. It looks like it's pretty damn sunny where you are.
Well, believe it or not, it's overcast, but yeah, we are expecting sun. Let's put it that way. It's going to be hot
Yeah.
today.
Well, they've already canceled school here because of the snow. It's 4 in the morning, and
Snow.
yeah, it's four in
No.
the morning, and they've already canceled school here. There was
Yeah.
less than
Well.
a dusting when I woke up. I'm a little bugged about
Oh
this.
well. They may be camped in schools here, not due to snow, but maybe for excessive rain. Over this last few days, a lot of lowlands, especially around the coastal lines, have all been flooded out. So people that have been at beach for carnival have ended up by having to return home or abandon houses because they've been flooded. To give you an idea, they anticipated 300 milliliters of rainfall in February and March. In one day, they had 600.
Wow, that's
So yeah, it's
insane.
I've never seen so much rain fall. I've never seen beach areas getting flooded out, and when not flooded by 2 inches, it's like knee high almost. That's falling that quickly.
Floods are not a lot of fun. I know that when we had our flood here, our 100-year flood is, as it's known here in Colorado. I know I actually found some pictures yesterday when I was going through it, and I found some of the pictures of it, and I can remember the devastation of what was going on, and it was just, to me, it was really shocking to relive that. And my job at the time was cleaning a lot of that stuff up, and I mean, it's just seeing some of the homes, and you go and you see toys flowing down a river or something like that, and know that these kids have lost a lot, um and these families have lost homes and stuff. It's just I
It's one of the worst natural incidents I think you can actually live through because it basically destroys everything on a very slow basis. It sweeps things away because the power behind it is, apart from the life side of it. But like you say, kids' toys, people with disabilities, they may have waited a long time to get their home service for them so they can actually have it done, and it's destroyed in seconds. And that's not great because trying to repair it takes time because you've got to wait for it to dry out, or you have to wait for it to be rebuilt before you can reinstall again. It's the slowest recovery, I think, if most emergencies, because tornado rips it off the ground, you flatten the ground and rebuild. Well, with flooding, if the ground is too soggy, you can't even rebuild on it. You've got to wait for it naturally to dry out.
well, that's the thing, is exactly what you just said. With a flood,
Yeah.
it takes away the ground, it takes away the foundation. The water is powerful enough. Like I said, that 100-year flood that we had here in Colorado, probably close to, I'm going to say, maybe 10, 12 years ago. I mean, I just watch, there are still places that were there that are no longer there. uh, Housing developments that were just washed away because it washed away the foundation. They can't build there anymore because it washed away the foundation. So yeah, so now I'm going to have you in my mind. I know that the Rev was dealing with winds. They're forecasting winds up to 70 miles an hour there in
Oh
Las
wow,
Vegas. So
wow.
but so hold on to your poker chips, I guess, is the.
Yeah. I'm going to be relatively safe where I am because I'm in city centre, so it's more highland. The only problem you get with city centre, when the rain falls, you've got nowhere to go apart from the drains, and provided the drains can cope with the overflow, we're fine. Now, Do roads get flooded because it can't cope? Yeah, sure. Generally, it will filter into the rivers and out. But the worst thing about living in a city is there is no ground for it to actually soak into. So
Hmm.
wherever it does soak into, it will go under the concrete sort of foundations. And if that breaks, then oh yeah, you're in big trouble. But theoretically, the drainage is adequate for most towns and cities to cope with until it's not. But I think we're going to be fine. It's just interesting to see the amount of rain falling during the day, and especially as it's Carnival weekend. It's a shame to see the amount of hours lost and disappointment where you're doing a carnival parade and all those costumes that are made out of feathers and cloth and what have you, and they spend an hour dancing samba for their school as a competition. And some of these things weigh like 40, 50 pounds extra on top of you. Now add the water on top of it, you're almost doubling the weight. And you've got to be fit to carry 80 pounds for an hour.
So what you're saying is, you know what, the water may run off the back of a duck, but it's not going to run off the back of somebody who's dressed like a duck.
Probably. Yep, exactly that. Yeah.
So, Trevor, one of the things that our heroes struggle with, and contemplate ending their life, is because injuries are sustained sometimes in service of the country. What you try to do can minimize the effect, not of the injury, but of the effect of life after the injury, because you try to help make sure that the websites are accessible to them. What are some of the things that you do to make sure that somebody who's dealt with one of these injuries is able to take and maintain a sense of normalcy by being able to go to a website that maybe they want to, they want to be a customer of, or they want to learn, anything, just utilize, I guess, is the best way to put it.
Yeah, and when you say sense of normalcy, I think it's about is giving accessibility. Is what it really is making something easier to access, and that's what we do. Because most websites, when they were designed and created, they're created for mainly the visually abled with no impediments, and you may have small fonts, you may have weird colors splashed all over the place, you may have flashing graphics. And that was great for the designer and the owner, but for the actual end user experience was never really thought of, because let's be flamboyant, let's make something really flashy, let's put videos flashing on there, let's put loud music on there. And over the years that slowly started to change because people would leave those type of websites. Now, people with some form of disability are still getting treated to that sort of experience, because even though some of the colors may have changed, they may not be suitable. Let's take just a very simple that a lot of men suffer with color blindness, or somebody that's suffering with ADHD or epilepsy. That is very much visual based. And if you get to a website and you've got loud colors and text going on and the screen is totally busy, it's not going to help you. So we teach owners to have their website in a very more calming features. Have the color codes that you want, but consider that maybe 20-25% of the population may wish to change that style to suit their needs. And if you don't have that option available, you've left one option mainly for that person to use, and that's to leave your website, which then means we don't build a relationship, we don't make inclusivity part of our regular daily business, and we start off-putting, offending, and sending away, hoping that somebody else is going to cover that service for that person. Well, we have freedom of choice. If I happen to like Dunkin' Donuts coffee, but I only want to have Starbucks cinnamon rolls. You're like, well, okay, they're not the places that I would normally go to buy those. It's in reverse. But if that's my preference, I should be allowed to have that preference and go to a website and order my cinnamon roll from Starbucks and go to Dunkin' Donuts to get my coffee. That's my choice.
And it's ridiculous to me why somebody would take and willingly not want to include everyone. Look, just because somebody is quote unquote handicapped doesn't mean that they don't have money. They probably don't have a lot of money, but they still are going to be a consumer, right?
Oh, very true. Now, you say that the individual may not have much money. This is true because, a lot of that disposable income, if they have any, is gone for the special equipment that they may need to have what we call a life in which they can live some normalcy. Now, here's this. Over the last couple of years, it's been around the same level. $680 billion are spent online. It's the second largest amount of money spent online, and it's by the disability community because they can't get out to brick and mortar places, so they want to shop online. There's only one group that actually spend more online than people with disabilities. In fact, it's not a group, it's a set of influencers. It's the teenagers because they get online and tell parents, oh, I need the new XYZ, or oh, I need a new one of these because I broke the last one. And they influence parents generally to purchase for them. So if we take out the influencers, the disability community are the one community that actually spend the most online. Before 75% of the population who's providing the rest of the revenue. So just by that stat alone, why would you not want to be attracting and making your website accessible to all as opposed to 75% of the population? Business is business. Profit is great, but making inclusivity is a profitable business.
One of the other things that you're able to do is you help in um, you're able to help people take in and grow the text, okay? Because even if we're not disabled, guess what? There ain't a single one of us getting younger as the days go on. It's not so easy to read the small text anymore. Okay,
Yep.
so the bigger text is also so. I mean, this is just it's so smart to do. And as I mentioned before we got started, there's also 75,000 reasons why you don't want to be on a non-compliant, right?
Of course, when you think of tech size, like I say, none of us are getting any younger. And quite often, our grandparents is stereotyped here a little bit because I think it's easier for our viewers to notice that. Grandparents are not always the best with technology, and therefore they may need a little bit of extra help to guide themselves through a web page. Now, if there's a slab of text, a news article, or a blog written that they want to read about, or some historical facts or story, if that text is too small, what are they going to do? Well, there are methods and systems where you can put a menu system onto your website to increase the font size. You can even change the letter spacing or the height in between the lines to put that font to where you are, but you don't destroy the aesthetics of a website with all the imagery that's on it. So you don't get a distorted image or it runs off the side of the screen. We often hear of mobile friendly, and what happens there is, well, you can always magnify in a browser, but what that really does, it pushes everything out in all directions by the percentage you increase it by. Well, if you're not technically friendly, you're not going to want to keep swiping left, right, left, right, left, right on every line or every few lines, as well as up and down to scroll the page. So that, font size is very important. Now, another thing is color of font. it seems to be a very common trend today that we have a white background because we want it to look clean. And that's another topic we can get into, because now we want dark mode for a lot of websites because we think white is too bright. But how many websites have a white background and grey text? Well, if you look at the color scale, grey and white are pretty much next door to each other. It doesn't really contrast. You always want to contrast color 4.5 times to 1. And I understand that black text on white background can seem very boring, traditional. It might look like a book or a magazine. It looks like printed material. Well, why don't you change the color up slightly and maybe use a very dark brown or a very dark blue? It adds a bit of pizzazz to your display, but it still makes it very easy to read.
And as I was talking about lawyers, they found a way to make money.
Oh, of course. Yes.
And they're not, as much as we like to make fun of them, they don't get to drive those Bentleys because they like to, lose things. So tell us about what the lawyers are doing. And look, this is unscrupulous. There's no doubt about it, because if they were given the money to organizations or something like that, it would be okay. But this money is being pocketed by these individuals.
Right. Yes. And it America has this litigious side to it. Anything you say or anything you do means I can sue you. And why wouldn't you? Let's put ourselves in the place of a lawyer for a few seconds. We don't want to be there for long, of course. But the main element is, if I want to make business, how do I make money? Well, if I can get lawsuits 10 to the dozen really easy by low-hanging fruit, would I not rather take those cases on? Or would I rather take a complicated case that may drag out and have a greater chance of losing, so therefore I don't get paid? So lawyers, in their infinite wisdom, realize that there is a law. The American Disability Act is a law. There is a government website called ada.org, which also specify how websites should legally be compliant for people with disabilities. And what happens? Lawyer comes along, finds a person with disability, says this website is not compliant, therefore we're going to issue you with a demand letter. If you ignore the demand letter, what happens? Well, we're going to pursue and take you to litigation. As soon as it hits litigation, 98% of those cases are won by the case of the lawyer. And any business in anywhere across the states, I'm sure, a case would cost minimum from what, $80,000, anywhere easily up to $150,000 at a time.
Yeah, it just, like I said, it's amazing. Charity Revolution is the .com is the website.
Yep, that's just one of our websites.
What's one of your other websites?
In fact, I think the other one is actually is offline at the moment. It would be Select Services and the Web Detective. We're making some new changes so we can brand ourselves a little better. But this one will work well because it works for our passion of helping charities. And as you can see, there is a icon at the bottom corner there which shows a disability tab. And this website is designed to show you the good and the bad of a website and how it can actually change something.
Seizure safe profile. Once again, this clears flashes and reduces color.
Correct.
Vision impaired profile enhances websites visuals. What does that mean?
Well, if you have a visual impairment, generally if you switch this one on, it's going to, these are what we call the presets. So it's going to double the size of all the content. It will oversaturate all the colors on the website. So that way everything becomes bright and big.
So, and I just click that, and you can see the difference between when you shut it off.
Yes.
And when you turn it on, you can tell a noticeable difference here.
Yeah.
ADHD. This is one of them that I really love because I am terrible when I read, of losing my place, because my shiny squirrel gets in the way.
Yeah.
So, and it's hard for me to do. So this allows you to take and follow along with where you read, and it's just and keep focus on one specific area. So I do love that one. Uh, Cognitive disability profile. Um,
This
uh,
actually helps you to focus on the elements of the website which have a function behind it, whether it can be a menu or a title of a section. So it's going to highlight those with a box, a line box around it. So it just gives you the important elements where you know there is some form of control.
Keyboard navigation.
Yes. So now, for those that cannot use a mouse for operating a website, and this can be people with temporary disabilities, or maybe a nursing mother with a new child. You don't want to be holding the child and try and use the mouse. So let's assume that unfortunately, if there's a flood here and I go out and help somebody, and I fall off the ladder and break my right hand. I can't really easily go and buy a left-handed mouse. They're available, but my adaptation to it is going to take far longer than the healing process. So here I can actually use things like the tab key, the shift key, and the enter key, and that will allow me to navigate around the whole website without having to have a mouse. So as I tab around, I then use the enter key, which is like the click button on your mouse, which a lot of blind people also use with their screen readers. It's the same similar functionality. Because imagine a blind person with a mouse, they would not know where the mouse pointer is. So this actually helps for those screen readers or people with visual impairment as well.
Yeah, and a lot of times I like using the screen readers. One of the reasons I use them is because I use them just to hear what people are reading, you know, and it's easier to comprehend a lot of time. But here's where it gets to the content scaling and resizable font, readable font, highlighting tiles. Every single one of these. Like here's the one similar to what you were talking about, is that you can go over a certain area and it takes and makes a little bit clearer so people
Correct.
can read. It puts it in. I love the way that this one does this. Is it puts it in that black box to where if you can't read it against the wood, this look here, now
Mm-hmm.
it's made easier because it's put it on that box. So that's
Yeah.
that's I love that.
I
Um,
think this one, I like to call this one, it's the closed caption for a website feature, because it looks just like closed caption on a video when you hover over the text because of the black box.
right. Yeah, closed captions really cool. And then the saturation. These ones are, you know, while some of this, we're going to find that to be a little difficult to look at. Other
Yes,
people need this.
that's true. Yeah.
So, they need
My
stuff like that.
Yeah,
Or
my mother-in-law would be a great candidate for having everything in oversaturation mode, because her vision is so poor that the clearer and the brighter it is, the more definition she can read.
so and I mean this is another one. You take away the noise in the background of the picture, you take away the
Yep,
noise and you just make it easier to read for
yep,
people. Say they find white difficult to read. You
yep,
go here and the font's in black. The
yep.
noise in the background is still gone. So,
Yes,
I mean, it's so important. All of these things on here, hide all the images,
yep. Now you're
you
left
know,
with just the text.
right. And, I mean, there is so much. This one is really handy. Look at the size of the cursor now. As you were
Yeah,
talking earlier, when it comes to it, somebody who's hard of visual impaired, they can't keep a hold of that little cursor.
no,
I got two different screens going here sometimes, and I don't know where the hell my cursor is anyway. So this is just a way to
yeah,
take and keep it updated. I know that you work really you and Z work really hard to make sure that
Yes.
mine is up to date. And I mean, I
Yeah.
love both of you guys for what you do. I'd like to bring in
Right.
another friend of ours right now.
Sure.
She's
Right.
joining us. This is Stephanie Simoes.
Mm.
Stephanie, I would like to introduce you to Trevor Gibbs. Trevor helps people with disabilities through his company, helps them be able to establish, use, and and just just use websites by adding some of the stuff that you just saw.
I was watching from backstage, and that's pretty awesome.
Mm.
I immediately thought of my grandmother, rest in peace, but I was like, she would have loved this. This would have been great for her.
Yeah, you know,
And
it
that's one of the
is.
things, isn't it? It doesn't have to be just for the disability community. It's when you think of the elderly population that we have, they didn't grow up with computers as we do. So why don't we make their experience easier? Because everything is now online for everybody.
Right.
Well, Trevor, not just the people who didn't grow up with it. You know, there's also there's a fact that people need to get used to. Looking at computer screens over and over and over again every day, it's ruining our vision anyway. So, you know, I mean,
Yes.
this is stuff that we're all going to need it. As we stated before, none of us are getting any younger. Some of us continue to look good. Look at Stephanie. You know, I mean, she still looks great. But
Exactly. Yeah.
you
I'm feeling like, goodness, you had to make us feel really bad, didn't you, Zach? Bringing the best
well,
beauty on.
look, I'm going to tell you something about this individual that I brought in, Trevor, and I am so glad that we got to talk to put you two together. Trevor, you and I work together a lot of times trying to help nonprofits who are just getting started. Stephanie and I have teamed together. Stephanie is a one home wine cause entrepreneur. Okay.
Right.
And
Hmm.
Stephanie helps us raise money for different organizations all over the country. And I think that this is one thing that, you know, I really wanted to get you two introduced because once we start doing our thing again, once we start doing that again, I think that Stephanie's going to be invaluable to what we do because you know
Sure.
it's just a way that look when you're out there trying to get your name out there, it's so difficult to do without other people talking about you. And Stephanie and I have been able to take and meet a lot of great people who have a lot of great ideas, but just don't know how to get the word out there. And you know, Trevor, and you can speak to this. One of the worst things about being in business,
Yes.
being a nonprofit, being any of this, is hearing the words, "God, I wish I would have known about you before
Hmm.
happened."
Yep.
Um, And that's one of the reasons why working with Stephanie and One Hope Lines, in which we will be pulling up the background here in just a little bit for these organizations. But we've been able to take in, and for the last several months, we've been able to highlight a couple nonprofits, everything, you know, from, well, most of them that you're going to see here in a minute to places like Dr. Boston. I mean, she was just God. I still, every time I think of that woman, I smile because she is so energetic and so happy. So I love
It's
talking to her,
wonderful.
John Vogels. But yeah, so Stephanie, what are some of the things that you have seen on websites that you're hoping that are difficult for you to use? That makes it difficult for you to use.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, well, navigation and just finding things, maybe the text is too small and things like that. If it's not an easy, user friendly website, sometimes, and I hate to say this, but we live in such a fast paced environment. If I'm having trouble getting something done on somebody's website, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll go back to it later, on to the next thing, you know?
Mhm.
So it definitely does happen for me as well. I don't think it's just the disabled that kind of would need a more user friendly, or hey, make sure the text is big of where you need to go to get things accomplished, depending on what the website is. But for me, that's usually it, is like, drop down menus, trying to find what you're looking for, and just there being too much stuff, there, or the text being too small where it's not even popping out at you, that you don't know where to navigate to.
Yeah, or you get to a website, and like my website, and Trevor, I've discussed this with you. My very first website had so many pictures in it, and you couldn't hardly read the words. And I loved it because I thought it was so cool and so pretty. And then we started talking, and I'm like going, "Good God, I've got good eyes, and I can't see this," you know. And I realized how unfair I was being. The truth is that if somebody comes to your website, they can't read it. They're going to go to your competitor. They're going to go to somebody who's got it set up to where, you know what, I'm going to go here. Nonprofits, this is something that is very, and we can really get this back to, people who are contemplating taking their lives. If somebody is having difficulty reading your website, not trying to be over dramatic here, but that could be the difference between life and death. Somebody's not going to sit there and continue to use this thing here, and click and click and click to find one that they can read.
If they can't find the phone number, can't find the contact, can't find the email, that could be a problem.
Well, most of the things all stem through frustration. If you get there and we all talk about speed, yeah, and if you design a website incorrectly and it loads slowly, people move on. But if this has information, especially if it's for health, or in the sense that I need some advice, and you think this is the site I need, and it's not accommodating to me, it's just going to frustrate me. And like you said, Zach, that could be the tipping point. Say, I'm fed up with these websites. Throw the mouse at the screen in temper, and who knows where that next step might be.
Yep. So just to let everybody know, in 1 hour, I am going to be replaying the Pampered Chef Party. So for all of you who are out there who like to cook and like to have stuff that you can actually cook with, check this out, because every time that you make a purchase using their code, the 9 organizations that we're working with, they get portion of every purchase. So Trevor, you're also one of our wonderful giving partners, which means that every time somebody comes to you and they get work done and they say, hey, you know what, I was sent by Community Pay It Forward, you're going to give us a referral that goes to the cause of their choice. You do this because you are one of the most generous people I know when it comes to giving and caring about other people. What are some of the things that are really in your heart? Some of the things that every time that you hear, you're like going, damn it, I wish I could do more to help them.
The thing, I think it's every individual needs a little boost up every day. And in my heart is, if I can help somebody do something a little bit better, or find a solution that is going to make their life a little easier, for me, that's my first tip box. And it could be something really simple. It could even just be having a 5-minute conversation with somebody because I haven't reached out for them. I have a friend that's not being well, haven't seen them networking, but all of a sudden it's just like, oh, let's just reach out. And sometimes just a simple message is enough to cause somebody does care about me. Somebody does think about me. And I always start everything from there. I start my business in the same way. I get on with somebody new that may be referred to me, and I ask about them. I ask about where they're from, what they've done in their previous life. I build a relationship because that relationship is meaningful, because we only like people that we know. And how can we know people if we just go into sales pitch mode? I don't sales pitch. I like to educate. And I hope everybody I've met over the last few years, I've left them with a little something. Now, whether that can be something free or a service I can provide, for me, is all equal. So whether it's a non-profit or is a veteran or a homeless person, get the chance to build relationships with some businesses as collaborative. And I'm saying, look, I want to reward somebody for this referral. Now, it could either go to your personal pocket, great, if that's your choice. But I wouldn't mind if we could donate it to your favorite charity. And if you don't have a charity, can we do a random act of kindness? Can we go and get a couple of gift cards and just hand them out to somebody on the street for a haircut and a meal for the day? And the amount of people that just think, oh, that's so easy to do. And all I had to do was introduce somebody to, well, yes, that's it. Keep it simple brings big effect.
Helping people is something that I think a lot of people just overcomplicate it. I mean, you mentioned helping people. The first thing they think of is like, oh God, how much is this going to cost me? And that's one of the reasons why having wonderful partners like you is going to continue to allow community pay it forward to grow, because you know what, we're not asking them to go out and do anything different than they need to do. They need their website to be compliant. $75,000 is a lot of freaking money, and I know that if I write a check for $75,000, first it's going to bounce, but then after that, it's my doors are closing. That's it. I'm done. Over, finished, done, gone out. But so having them call you and making sure that that everyone is able to access and utilize their website, then they can take and donate to a cause that they want without pulling their wallet out again. That's one of the reasons why I love you, because you've joined with us. The other reason is, Trevor, you're just, as I mentioned before, you're a great guy. I give nobody in this world more hell than I give you. But you are a great guy, and our friendship is so important to me because you are a like-minded person. People need help. Every single one of us at some point in time, is going to need help. Well, if nobody knows about it, we can't help.
No. And I'm very honored for you to say that, and I'm honored to be your friend, Zach. But it is very much in what you say in the name of your organization. Pay it forward. Pay it forward first, because I don't know when I'm going to need help. I will need help. And if I've paid it forward, I can now reach out and say, Zach, and hopefully maybe Stephanie, do you know I need? Where do I go? What do I do next? And if I've paid something forward, you're going to say, you know what? He was there when we needed him. Let's see how we can help. And if we all took a little time just to pay a little bit more forward first, the rest of the life, the rest of things we can see as a problem, it's not really a problem. It's just, who do I need to ask to help? Problems are not problems. It's just, I call them roadblocks. Everybody's got them. It's not a problem. We just need to know how to remove the roadblock. Do I need help? Do I drive around it? Do I take a different route? But, nothing is impossible to pass.
Yeah, and the way that we always tell people, you know what, they're going to ask you, how did you get over this bridge? You tell them how you show them how to get over that bridge, and they're going to be able to create a bridge for somebody else. And if we just keep building a way to where, we're taking care of each other simply by bridging gaps that are problems,
Exactly.
And again, your service, one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on is because one of the main reasons for suicide when it comes to our veterans is because they get injured. Well, your service is something that could really help out veterans. So along with that, again, they shop with you. All of a sudden, they can donate a portion to a cause that they love, and it could be one of these 8 wonderful, or all 8 of these wonderful organizations that we're talking about. Trevor, I know that you got a busy day. Thank you very much for joining me, my friend.
Very welcome.
Please give us your contact information.
Well, for sure. If you like to look for the Web Detective online, it is there, especially on LinkedIn. You can find me on Alignable. If you would like to use an email, there is we had Charity Revolution here, so people can see how to spend that. It's just my first name, Trevor, at charityrevolution.com. And of course, the easiest way, if anybody wants to reach out, is talk to Zach. He has all the other details that you can get hold of. And what better way is have Zach to refer you to me? And I give some credit to Zach for putting me in connecting with somebody.
Yep, and whatever Trevor sends our way, 80% goes to the mission of your choice. So, all right, thank you, my friend. Please be safe
You're
with
very
any rain
welcome.
that you got coming your way, and I will talk to you soon. Thank you.
I look forward to it. Take care now. Bye bye.
Goodbye.
How awesome.
Yeah, Stephanie, like I look, you and I say it all the time. We truly do. We might say it a little bit even too much, but I don't think that's even possible. We meet some of the best people
We do.
by doing what you and I are doing together.
We
And
do.
it's amazing to me that we're able to get away with meeting these people simply by trying to get people to order wine.
Right. Right.
So,
I
but
love our monthly campaign. I love that we get to highlight different people, different organizations. Sometimes it's one organization, sometimes we bring on two. You get to hear from the different perspectives, what they're working on. They might be in a similar you know, similar area, like, supporting veterans, but in a different way. So it's so cool to just hear their background, what their goals are at the time, and how much money they need raised so we could really help get the word out.
this is a rarity that we're helping the amount that we're highlighting right now, because usually we like to bring them on and allow them to tell their story, and when we allow them to tell their story, it becomes more heartfelt, because I can tell you the story of Project Die Hard, but I can't tell you what Brian feels.
No,
I can tell you the story of veterans honoring veterans, but I'm not Bart. There's only one Bart, and you need to meet him because he is the reason why that's there.
it's true. Hearing from them directly really makes you connect with, with why they started in the first place, and what they need to keep moving forward, to keep helping more people. So really cool. I love that we get to do this. And thank you for having me on this morning. I'm excited to be here.
I had to pull it out that, hey, I love this too, because you know what, you can't drink all day unless you get started in the morning. So let's bring on Stephanie first thing in the morning. I love it. So um but yeah, this just worked out really well, because it's nice to have somebody to actually talk to uh, this early in the morning, to kind of get me up and moving a little bit, because last year I had two guests and then I had like a 4 hour gap before I had another one. And I'm going to tell you something, Steph. I was sitting there at the end of that 4 hours going, I think I'm going to quit. I
What
didn't.
else do I say?
Yeah. Yeah. How many times can I repeat, these certain things? But I didn't do it. I lasted all 22 hours. Thank God I always had JR to jump on and go, hey, remember to do this. And okay, yeah, that's great. That's great. So,
You're amazing. 22 hours today. Incredible. I hope that we get a lot of viewers on to watch even just 22 minutes.
well, you know, that's what we're asking, is people just to dedicate 22 minutes. And please make sure that you're out there and you're sharing this and letting people know, hey, we're trying to start the conversation. Come and join us and dedicate 22 minutes to, care about somebody who you may not even know, but we can start a conversation that can save a life. Stephanie, why don't you tell me what a cause entrepreneur does?
Yeah. So, with One Hope Wine, we're a Napa Valley winery that is completely cause centered. So, what does that mean? Every bottle of wine that we sell gives back to make an impact. We do that through first the One Hope Foundation, where our main pillars of giving are clean water, ending hunger, health, and education. And I will say, side note, Team Rubicon has been a recipient of a lot of donations through One Hope Wine too, and they support veterans, which I'm sure you're aware. But in addition to the One Hope Foundation, as a cause entrepreneur, basically a brand ambassador, we can raise money for any charity across the United States of our choice, or, of our host choice. I like to call us co-hosts, Zach. I wouldn't say you're, for our monthly campaign, I feel like we're co-hosts. We're bringing people on. It's great. And it's about them. And that's what I love about this, is that it's really focused on that cause. It's about them. And you can purchase the bottle of wine for your table or send a gift. And 10% of every purchase is going to be donated back to that charity. So it's a really cool platform, really just to make an impact in your local community. It doesn't have to be a big organization. And that's what I love. Like, the big organizations are great, but it's the smaller ones that are struggling to get their names out, right? To get their story out. So that's why I love what we do. Because every month we get to bring them on and let them tell their story and their background and what they're working on. And like you said, nobody could tell the story like Brian and Bart and all these incredible people that we've had on the show. So I love that. So we don't normally highlight this many all at one time, but this is a really special month for you, Zach, with this show.
Yeah, number two. And like I said, you know what, we're going to be here for number 3 as well. One of the other things that One Hope Wines does that's very original is it's not just the organization that you choose that gets a portion of the money. One Hope Wine Foundation is also involved.
Right. I like to explain it as, a double donation with every single bottle of wine that you purchase. Once to the charity of your choice, and then in addition to the One Hope Foundation, which is really, really awesome. So, you're making a difference with that little bit. And it's really cool from my perspective to hear like, hey, I got the check in the mail. Thank you so much. Just hearing that validation and the excitement with just, let's be real. The organizations, every dollar goes such a long way. So it's really cool to be able to gift and sip and be able to give back at the same time.
One of the things that we do want to make mention, and we make sure that we try to tell people about this all the time. Yes, we are talking about wine. Yes, we are trying to sell wine right now on this. But our true love is trying to raise awareness for these organizations. We do ask that you please enjoy responsibly. And if you need help, contact us and we can try to find the perfect place for you to go and get the help that you need. Because the last thing in the world we want to do is bring any harm to your life. We're just trying to take something that, let's be honest, dinner with a nice glass of wine, it's a good time. It's a nice way to wind down. Wine down.
I love that, Zach. So, that was great.
Yeah, I'm being pretty creative this morning by not being able to talk. I think it's great. So, but this is something that, yes, we do, we do understand what we're promoting here, but the true fact is we're trying to bring to light these wonderful organizations that we're working with. So, you have another project right now that your Facebook is fixed.
Well, not fixed, restarted, but that's okay. We're moving forward, onward and upward, right?
There you go.
Yeah. So what's really cool is that locally we have a contracting business. My husband is quite talented in that area, and we've recently expanded into distributing some home improvements at a discount. It's an idea we had a few years ago, truthfully, and the pieces just didn't come together then. But I feel like it came together at the right time, with the inflation and the prices of gas and groceries and things so high right now. The thought of, upgrading or remodeling or just, light fixture changes and things for people could be, daunting. So what we've done is we've been able to source items and sell them at a way discount in comparison to the stores. Think of things that you might find at like a Lowe's or a Home Depot and places like that, but for less. So, we're just getting the ball rolling. It's only been about 5 weeks on this project right now. We will eventually have, a full online store. We've got a few things up on eBay right now. We're doing local pickups and I'm shipping out things too. So if it's something that's not super fragile and I'm comfortable sending it out where it's not going to get damaged in transit, I'm happy to ship things, just to kind of make a difference with that.
And these aren't things that it's like, oh my God, we just wrecked this trailer house, and the only thing that didn't burn down was the kitchen sink, so we're going to send it to you.
Oh no, no. Most of the items are completely new in the box, and if there are any like defects, and that's something we've been doing, is opening things up just to make sure, was anything damaged in transit, and if it's still worth distributing. Because I've had my reservations with that too. And we asked a few of our clients, what do you think about this? If something's slightly damaged, and they were like, post it for cheap. People will want, like, if somebody just needs a fan, if there's a scratch on it, they're going to still want the fan. Yeah. So, it's always noted if there is a slight defect with it, but most of the items are completely new in the box. No, not from a burned down house.
Well, there's a scratch on this fan. I don't know if I can use it. I'll be hot because I don't want that scratch. Yeah, no, that's not the way I do it. You and your husband try not to get too far into this, but hopefully this time next year, you and your husband will be up on the wall behind me as we're raising money for a program that you guys are getting going. You guys are really looking into, and the thought of homeless vets is something that is near and dear to your heart.
Right. So we do a lot of work for clients with Airbnbs, and that's something that had been tossed around. And when it came down to it, I was like, there are so many veterans need help. Like, veterans need help, and the list of housing is long with people waiting. Why not, start cabins, apartments, multifamily homes, like, projects like that, one at a time, where, we can go through and connect with, the local office in the area and say, hey, we've got this available. Who's on your list? That for a 1-bedroom or a 2-bedroom or whatever the case may be. So that's really what we're looking to do, is to expand. We've started, and through my social media, you can see, and I'll be posting more about it, because a lot of my stuff got wiped out when my account got wiped out. But we did recreate a cabin, and it's beautiful. But if anybody out there has contacts in West Virginia, because we will be moving out there, I would love to speak with you. Because we will be looking for some property, for some cabins, some apartments, things like that, and really open to kind of just seeing what's available out there that we can work on. It's going to be the next big project. So,
Stephanie, and I don't think I've ever told you this, and it's something that I guess I've waited until this moment to tell you. I love what you're trying to do because of one thing. And I hate saying this word, but it pisses me off every time I see a functional home get ripped down, and all of a sudden there's another damn coffee shop or another bank or another something else that goes up that home could be used. There were 3 bedrooms in that home that are now gone. That's 3 bedrooms that could have saved lives, and they're taking it down just so we in this weird ass society can rush in and get our stupid Starbucks coffee. Okay, I'm not a coffee drinker, I fully admit. Matter of fact, being a biker, I think people who drink coffee in the mornings are just as bad as drunks. I've been damn near wiped out on my motorcycle more times, people double cutting lanes just to get in and get their expensive coffee. So calm down, kitten. It's going to be there. Circle the block and come back around.
Well, speaking of, knocking buildings down, we love distressed properties. Like, that's what we're looking for, is a distressed property. We're not looking for something that's completely put together, that we can kind of make nice and cozy for whatever the situation is. And usually it needs to be a one story, because usually there's trouble getting up and down stairs and things like that. So we look for those things. But we love the transformation of a distressed, where somebody might look at it and say that needs to get knocked down. And we're like, no. And you could see the vision behind what can be done with it. And it could, provide a really nice home for somebody. So
there are so many people who have just lost the art of thought. I think a lot of times, they do. They just see this as, and we all know money talks. Okay, we well aware that what, if I can sell a property for $500,000, or I can take in and build a home and do good, a lot of people are going to take the $500,000.
Right.
My current situation, I'm not sure I would say any different. Knowing who I am, that ain't going to happen. But the thing is that there are so many, we need more people like what you're doing, because first off, having the talent that your husband has, having the mind and the love and the compassion that you have, I think it's a way that we can take and really start helping people. And that's something that's so lacking today is, and I say this to ad nauseum to people, but look, you can help people no matter who they are, no matter if they voted for the other moron. So what? You guys don't have the same political beliefs. Yeah. It doesn't make you any different. It just means that, well, I thought this guy was going to lie less. You're wrong, but I thought, we need to be able to remember that as we were talking about with Trevor, at some point in time, we're all going to need help. Believe in karma, don't believe in karma, whatever you want to do. But the truth is that there's going to be some time that maybe if you help a person a little bit, when that person gets back on their feet and you fall into a position, they're going to be able to help you out a little bit. And then you guys can build something beautiful together. Build those bridges, keep working together. So,
I love that.
Yeah. And again, you and I focus on at least one, if not more, organizations every month. And we do it by, all we ask you to do is go and use these QR codes, in which I know that these QR codes behind me are a little difficult to see. Oh, well, now you can't see them at all. So, but yeah, that didn't work very well. So I'm going to go on ahead and pull this back up, because now you can see it a little bit better. But if you take and you go and you scan this code, 10% of your purchase is going to go to GI Josie, Healing Warriors, Hope Advance, Project Die Hard, Veterans Honoring Veterans, Veterans Ranch. Unfortunately, we have had VWAS who's dropped out due to difficulties. So they've dropped out of this, but we hope, we wish them well, and we hope that they get back on their feet soon. But all you got to do is scan these codes and make a purchase. Stephanie, why don't you go on ahead and tell us a little bit about the wines and some of the packages they can get? Tell us a little bit about some of the unique things about becoming part of the One Hope Wine family.
Yeah, sure. So if you're not on our community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraiser group on Facebook, definitely join us there, because we share different recipes, and we share a little bit about the wines there and pairings and things like that. So definitely jump on there, because we also highlight the charity of choice every month there too. So you'll know kind of what we're working on. But even if you're not aligned with what we're talking about that month, you can still donate to the charity of your choice. So putting that out there too. Gosh, the wines. We've got something for every palate, really, from beginning wine drinkers, people who are just starting to experiment with different wines, all the way to, the more experienced wine connoisseur. And everything in between, from sweet to bubbly to rosé to reds. We've got quite a variety. We do have different packs on the site. So if you're just looking for, select for me, okay, there's a sweet pack. Great. Let me select that. To maybe wanting to be a part of the wine club where you have access to exclusives and some of the higher end Napa Valley wines. We have that as well. But truthfully, with every case of our Vintner collection, the charity of choice is getting a $24 donation. So just that alone, knowing you can get a case of wine, $24 is going to that charity. And the One Hope Foundation is making a donation also. That to me is huge and impactful. If you think about people who drink wine regularly, how many cases in a year? Think about how much just through pouring a glass can make a difference. So is there something in particular with the wines that you wanted me to talk about, Zach? Because I know you have some favorites as well.
Yeah, actually I do. But one of the other things that I was wanting you to talk about a little bit was you're looking for other people to come and join you and become a cause entrepreneur.
Yeah. So let's be honest. If it was just me fundraising, we wouldn't have over $9 million donated as a company. So
that's the number I was looking for right there.
Yeah. And we've donated to over 37,000 different nonprofit organizations, which is really, really incredible. So the more of us that there are, cause entrepreneurs or brand ambassadors, the bigger the impact we can make together. I can only do so many fundraisers in a month. So the more of us there are, the better. So if you have any interest with, wanting to support a cause, whether it's through hosting an event, coming on the show with Zach and I, or being on the business side with One Hope and, campaigning for organizations year round, connect with us and we'd be happy to share more info.
This is not wine that was, stamped out in a 10 barrel by Billy Joe Huckleberry, is it?
No. So we have some of the most incredible winemakers in the industry. Robert Mondavi Jr., part of the Mondavi family. If you're familiar with wine, you may be familiar with the Mondavi name. He's the grandson. He's one of our winemakers. We have Tony Coltrane, who came over from Opus One. And our head winemaker is Mari Wells Coyle, one of the few female winemakers in the industry. She is incredible. And she has added so many 90+ point rated wines to our portfolio. So we're really lucky to have her. She came over from Sterling Vineyards, actually. So another big name in the wine world. But she does a great job. And what I love is it's at a price point for any table. So if you're saying, ooh, Napa Valley wine, if you've ever been to Napa, you go to a tasting, the wines are quite pricey. You can get a bottle of our wine for under $20, which is, at a normal price point. Instead of going to the liquor store, get it delivered to your door and have it make an impact at the same time.
Beautifully packaged when it comes to your door. You almost don't even want to open it because of the packaging. It looks so nice. I'm telling you. I know the couple deliveries that I've received from you so far, I was like going, damn, I don't even want to open this box. It looks so nice. So
the box is nice, and the gift boxes are nice too.
Yes, that's actually what I wanted to bring up. A lot of our friends who watch this show are real estate agents, and there are some wonderful things for people who want to thank their customers or thank their employees that they can get.
Yeah, so we do custom labels with our Cabernet and our Chardonnay. So it could be a thank you note on the custom label, displayed that way. But we also have shimmer bottles that are beautiful, and logos could be put on those shimmer bottles. A little thank you note could be put on the shimmer bottles. Maybe your name, and it could be like a business card on the shimmer bottle, but use it as a thank you. Real estate agents love the shimmer because you put your logo on something. That's marketing. I am not by any means an accountant, and I can't make any advice in that direction, but I want to say that's probably a write-off for your marketing if you are gifting in that way. So it's kind of a win-win.
And it's kind of one of those things, you know what, you close the deal on selling a home. Hey, look, you know those people are going to go out and buy a bottle of wine and they're going to celebrate. Why not do it? Every holiday, we've got a lot of holidays coming up, and we've got a season coming up where there's a lot of barbecues and stuff like that. You've got wines for every season. You got the sparkling wines to the heavier wines, to the lighter, Zach Weenie type fruity wines, to you got everything like that. I think it's actually kind of funny that you were talking about, how you have your novice wine drinker, your people who don't know what they're doing really. It's right here.
I
And
will
then you got
say,
your professional.
almost 3 years ago when I started with One Hope, I was a novice wine drinker. I couldn't even tell you what kind of white wine I drank, but I didn't touch reds. And this has really expanded me and pushed me out of my comfort zone to try different wines. And I am by no means an experienced wine drinker. I'm just a mom who likes to give back, and why not do it through the wine that I'm going to be drinking anyway. Fun fact, Zach, we are, and I'll talk about this on our next show a little bit more, but we are adding some margaritas to our portfolio. So
Oh, really?
I think that that's going to be something that you're going to enjoy. Yeah,
Oh, I
a
know
lime
Adrian's going to
margarita,
enjoy that.
and a strawberry margarita made with agave wine. So really, really cool.
That's really intriguing. That's great to hear. And it looks like our next show is going to be 1 week from tonight on the 1st.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but and of course, one of the other things that Stephanie and I always want to ask is, if you know a smaller nonprofit out there that's got their 501c3 and they're looking for a little bit of publicity. Look, we're not NBC. We understand this. We're not NBC. But if we're talking about you, that means somebody else is going to talk about you. That means somebody else is going to talk about you, and they can learn about what kind of great things you're doing. We're doing this on a small market, but the thing is we're looking to make a huge impact. And all we want to do is show how much we care because you care. So if you know somebody who is looking for a little bit of help, maybe they want to get involved, maybe they want to tell their story, have them reach out to Stephanie. Okay. The goddess of the grape. I hit the wrong one. But nah, I did it on purpose. So, but reach out to Stephanie's Linktree. It's just Linktree, Steph Simoes, and say, hey, you know what? I would like to be involved with what you guys are doing. Please help me tell others our story. You can also reach out to me at my For My Card. It's formycard.net, Zach Clayton. And you're going to see a person that looks a little bit like me pop up on that picture. So, and then you'll know you're in the right place. So, Stephanie, I know you have kids to get going. I know you have school to get ready for. They have already canceled our school because of inclement weather. They did it yesterday. We've got less than a quarter of an inch on the ground.
Oh, you're getting more snow than us in the Poconos, Zach. It's so weird. This winter is strange.
I'm telling you, and I've said it before, but before Adrian moved here from New Mexico, we got snow maybe 3 times a year. That was it here in Greeley.
She brought the snow, didn't she?
Yeah, from New Mexico. I don't know what the hell she did, But ever since she's got here, our winters have been snow, 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 sub-zero temperatures, all this stuff. So it's like going, and she goes, "Oh, you told me it never snowed here." And I'm like, "It doesn't. It's your fault." So,
And we're just the opposite. We've had one plowable snow all winter so far here in the northern Poconos in Pennsylvania, which is very strange. We've had some, light dustings, things like that. The other day we had a little bit, but nothing like that you can actually push with the plow. Strange. I don't know.
yeah,
I'm hoping we just ease right into spring. I'm ready for the nice weather.
so am I. I really am. I'll be honest. I am sick of this colder weather. So, but again, we're looking to help as many people as we can. Stephanie and I are beginning year 2 of this, and we want you to be here with us. So if you know somebody, please have them contact us. We generally have our shows the first and the third Wednesday of every month as we introduce a new program and try to help out some people. So, Stephanie, my dear, thank you very, very much. Enjoy
Thank you.
your kids, getting your kids off to school, and you take care of yourself because you're a wonderful person, and we desperately need your help. So, but thank
Thank
you.
you so much. I'm looking forward to watching the other, highlights of the day throughout the day. So thank you for
Well,
having me this morning.
and not a problem. And remember, here in 20 minutes, we are going to be replaying the show from Sunday. It's a Pampered Chef show. So if you cook, make sure that you check it out because, again, every purchase you make goes to these organizations you see right here, plus a couple more. So, but thank you, dear.
Have a great day.
You too. Bye. Stephanie Simoes of One Hope Wines, just such an inspirational person. She recently found out that she's with child, and so that's great. And I asked her the other day, well, when do you want to take and kind of slow this down so you can concentrate? And she goes, you know what? My births have all been easy, so I'm planning on working up until I can't work anymore, and hopefully working past that. And I'm like going, wow, you're awesome. So, but yeah, again, any of these codes behind me, if you take and you use your little camera QR code, you can order wines. And this is the one where you choose the specific organization you wish to donate to. You just go to the GI Josie code, or you go to Healing Warriors code, Hope Advanced, Project Die Hard in Kentucky, Veterans Honoring Veterans, Veterans Ranch in Florida. Look, this is a chance for you to really, really make a difference and help us support them. So we are, wow, already in hour 3 of 22. So only 19 more to go. Oh. 17 minutes away from replaying our Pampered Chef party that we hosted on Sunday with Carolyn Rasmussen. We had a really, really good time. She taught us a lot of stuff. She taught me how to put cocoa in chili. Never heard of that before. Wife made chili the other day. Put a little bit of cocoa in it. Pretty damn good. I'm a fat guy. I've never had anything with cocoa in it that I didn't go, that I went, ew, I don't want to touch that. So, kind of chocolate is another one of the, food groups in my house. So I'm never going to stop until Dairy Queen becomes one of the essential food groups. So just to let you know, that's kind of wackadoo I am. So as soon as this event is done, I downloaded a packet from the VA, and this is talking about a lot of the numbers and stuff. and we're going to be getting into some of the sad facts, but there's also some inspiring facts. There's some information in here that I was able to look through. You know what? This proves there is hope out there, and we together can do something to help our heroes. That's we owe them. Okay, look, you don't have to support wars. You don't have to support government. You don't have. These are kids that are taken out directly out of high school, and they're taken so young because they can still be molded into what they need them to be. Okay, once their service time is done, they're given a handshake, they're given a check, go be an adult. They have no idea how to be a civilian. They start to get lost. The kinship that they had, the group that they had, the group dynamic, the brother, the sisterhood that they had, it's gone. Yeah, they can still keep track of them, but they're in different parts of the country. These are kids that are all over the world that come together for a little while and then they disband, and you know, for us civilians, we remember what it was like to be able to take and kind of gradually go into this. But this is okay, you're no longer in the service, go. You're on your own. It's difficult. It's a change that is difficult for everyone. But when you go from being a child in the service to an adult to a civilian, and you don't have that training, a lot of times when you join the service and you get out of the service, you don't have the education needed for a good job. This is one of the things that I've learned from all the studying I've been doing. I mean, they say that, you know, the education that they thought that they had the training for in the service, it's not going to count as a master's or a bachelor's degree. Well, I have experience doing it. Yeah, that's fine, but you don't have what we need. It's tough. Last thing in the world you're going to want to do is take and go back to school for 4, 6, 8 more years to learn how to do the things that you know how to do that you can't do because they're not allowing you to do them. This is just one more of the many, many problems that our heroes are facing when they get out of the service. I'm able to do this today because there are a lot of people who got involved. There are a lot of people who are helping me do what this 22 hours. There's a lot of people who are behind me who put up because they're tired of being shut up. SBA bookkeeping. You're going to be hearing from her, I believe, at like 11:30 Mountain, 1:30 Eastern. Rider Justice and the Scott O'Sullivan Law Firm. Scott's been with me. Scott has put up with me and all my harebrained ideas since the moment I was in my motorcycle accident. Scott is a dear friend of mine. We don't get to talk near enough. But Scott's one of those guys that we go and we get to have a lunch, you know, once or twice a year. We go to have this lunch and we get to sit there and we just get to kind of talk about things like how can we help not just ourselves, but each other. Okay. Scott's going to be here at 2 p.m. Eastern today, noon right here in the mountains with Mr. Z, our web designer. Our website was, let me try this again in English. Our website was designed by Z World Webs. I love our website. I love how he was able to take this crazy idea that I had and put it into motion. Go to communitypayitforward.us and you can see just a little bit of the talent that Mr. Z has. The one thing you can't see is how much he cares. You're going to get to see that today at 2 o'clock Eastern. Wellness Tech Plus, brand new platinum partner to our program. You're going to, he's got a 2-hour block coming in to talk with his wife, who is who has worked in the mental health field. He's going to tell you about a lot of the technologies that they're coming up with. And then he's got 2 doctors from Germany who have built a lot of this technology. That's going to be at 3 and 4 Eastern, 1 and 2 here Mountain. Please help me by doing the math because it's early for me. And I'm me. Graduated from Garden City High School. You expect me to know things? And be awake? You're out of your mind. Cape Cod Happy Medium. Sean and I talked about her earlier, Susan Ahern. We will not be talking about her mediumship. We will be talking about her path to health, doing a naturopathic healing and stuff like that. So I'm so excited because she hasn't talked about this a whole lot. And she's using our format. She's helping us use our format by talking about it here live. She's going to be on this afternoon, noon 30 East. Yeah, I think so. I believe it's noon 30 East. Let me just check. I don't know where she's at. What did I do? I ruined it. I didn't put her in here. But yeah, I actually, you know what? Yes, it's noon 30 East. That's the time it is. So 10:30 here in the Mountain Time. The Simoes family, you guys just heard from them. Got a lot of stuff going on, and hopefully next year they're going to be in this row here, because what they're doing, helping our homeless vets in West Virginia, is fantastic. They're taking some of these buildings that people just want to get rid of, and they're going to make that they're going to give them life. They're going to give them a purpose, and they're going to give people a home. Sean, the Rev, there. Couldn't be doing this without him, his support. Help Op X is a new program to the company. Check them out. Hey, if you're in business, you need help, check out Help Op X. They can help keep everything straight. Balan Ching, the little butterfly. She's brand new to our company as well. And she's a brand new partner. And it's all about your chi. It's all about your Ching. Take in, and if you're tired of the drugs, if you're tired of all the BS, check out Balan Ching. 93.5 oldies, 93.5.com, pirate radio in Fort Collins. Sue, the winner, she cheated of last year's chili cook-off. She didn't cheat. She actually made a damn good chili is what it was. So, but yeah, she beat me. She beat me fair and square. So I'll get you this year, Sue. I'll get you this year. 93.5, the pirate radio. Check them out. Check out Sue. Tell her, hey, you know what? I heard Zach mention you, and thank her for all of their support. You're going to be hearing from her in a mere 7 minutes. Carolyn Rasmussen with Pampered Chef. Anytime that you make a purchase from her, you make a purchase for someone in our program. You tell us who you support. We don't tell you who to support. And finally, Auxilia. Auxilia is a very, very important program to Community Pay It Forward. If you're in the email blast, that comes from Auxilia. All of our scheduling on the website, or of our commercials and everything, that's Auxilia. Auxilia helps you run a business like you had 15 different other companies with you, okay? But they do it with their one at a very affordable price, and they help you maintain everything. We have a lot of business to business right now, okay? There's no denying that. We have a lot of business to business programs. We're looking, our goal is to have it to no matter what you have to do in a day, you come to communitypayitforward.us, you shop with one of our partners, and you can support people in the community who need our help. Programs like Veterans Honoring Veterans, Healing Warriors, Veterans Ranch, organizations like Paranormal Giving Tree, which is not a 501c3, but it's a damn good idea because it gets our veterans out, our heroes out there and moving. It gets them doing things that they love to do. Organizations like GI Jane, which is GI Josie, GI Josie, which is out there working their butt off to make sure that our female veterans are taken care of. Project Die Hard, we've already talked about Project Die Hard, all that they do, all the great things they do. Hope Advanced. Look, again, every single one of us grew up making mistakes. Credit's a great thing to have until you don't have it, until you've ruined it. And then it becomes a very not great thing to have. Having bad credit can really ruin your life. Hope Advance can help people. Maybe you made a mistake and now you're stuck in a situation where, guess what? My background check is screwing me over. Hope Advance can help you go through the steps to get that cleared up as well. And Community Dare to Care. That's another part of what we do, giving away anything that's donated to us is given to people for free. You bought it, not us. I don't want to make money off of it. I want to make sure it gets onto the backs of people who need it. Speaking of that, I know right now, yeah, it's cold here. It's only 7 degrees here. So one of the things that we always do in our car, we always have a hoodie and a coat. And that way, if we see somebody struggling with the cold, we can give it to them. Please make sure you do this. If you know that there's somebody out there who, is in a certain spot who's struggling with hunger, throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware, hand them the bowl, heat it up for them. Let's put some of this stuff that we're wasting. Let's put it back into use. Let's help people who need our help. It is time for us to go on ahead and move to our third segment, which is the event from from Sunday. I beg of you, check this out because she does some great things here. She's going to teach you 3 recipes. 2 because of Mardi Gras, a jambalaya, which we had and is fantastic. As I've gotten older, spiciness is not my friend anymore, but this was a spice that I loved. So Adrienne took her recipe and ran with it and did a great job. She's going to make a king cake and a chili. So as soon as we're done running a couple of these spots to thank a couple of our sponsors, we're going to go to that show, and I will see you live back here in an hour and a half. And we'll continue talking to some great people and digging through this paperwork. So please bear with us as we switch to our next segment. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. Please make sure that you share what we're doing. Let people know our mission is to save lives today. Please join us. Please make sure that you dedicate at least 22 minutes, because 22 minutes can be one life.
Bye.